And now, the time fight fans all across the globe have been waiting for. It's the main card with your man, the voice, and always in the opposite corner, my mano imano, my verbal sparring partner, my fashion yang to my yin, Wildress Ruffin.
Man, it's amazing. It's smoke o'clock, and we got an amazing show for y'all today. I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend, my combat sports mentor himself, the sensei, the voice. You like that?
I love it. I was getting ready to say, if you hadn't said anything else, I was getting ready to say, just call me sensei. It's not the first time or the last time that that term will be used for me. So I appreciate you recognizing my gangster. I appreciate that.
Voice, the Shogun from St. Louis. We have an amazing show for y'all today. We're going to get into some great fights, some great things. But of course, we are also covering the final match of Mr. Thugonomics himself, John Cena. Voice, you ready for this?
Yes, sir.
I ain't gonna be extra. I'm a Cena fan. I ain't gonna be extra emotional though, like I've been seeing a lot of other people. But you know, before we start, I just want to say, John Cena, thank you for all the time that you've given us amazing matches. But let's go ahead and get into these KOs and low blows, man.
All right.
Now, voice, we talked about this and we said that something possibly was going to happen in that Pitbull versus Roach decision fight, and of course, there was controversy. There was a lot of people who felt like, again, Lamont Roach got the short end of the stick. Of course, he was knocked down in, I believe, the third round of the fight, but many people feel as though he dominated most of the fight and even had Pitbull kind of backing up. And Pitbull is a person who, like his namesake, he continues to come at you on a consistent basis. So, Voice, what did you think about the decision of the fight and what's next for both of those fighters?
I wish, and all of you broadcast partners for boxing, lean forward, listen to you and the voice. For those of us who are hardcore boxing fans, for those of us who truly love the sport, sometimes I wish I could watch it without commentary. And the reason being is that they're human. So with them being human, there are things, or I should say there are fighters that they're going to lean to and rounds that they're going to paint different ways. When we got to the end, you know, that based on the commentators, it seemed like not Pitbull, Roach had it, so forth and so on. I kept seeing the scorecard that the ringside person had, which was not in line with what they were saying. And they're like, oh, this is way off, and sometimes it is. But in this card, as I was going through it, I was like, you know what? It was like, it's a really close fight. I don't know. And when they said another draw, at first, I was let down. It was like, oh, here we go again. But when I went back, and I did it pretty immediately. I said, you know what? Let me look at my card, though. I don't know if that's a bad card or not. And based on what I was journaling as I was watching the fight, it wasn't a bad card at all. I had a one round that was a swing round. I didn't know who it was going to go to. Outside of that, or I should say, if that round went to Pitbull, it was a win for him. If it did not, then it was a drop. So just like the judges there had it, I had it as well. Looking at it, what a lot of people, and I haven't gone back, and I wish I had gone back and looked at the judges' official scorecards, but there were a couple things that, from a judging standpoint, I was like, the crowd was going crazy over this, but the judges, or I should say, nothing really happened. There were a number of times Pitbull swung on Roach, and Roach either slipped it or rolled with it to a point where the punch had no impact. but the crowd went crazy like something happened. That impacts judges. And from their angle, it could have looked as if the shot landed. So I'm not upset with the card at all. And on top of that, Roach, to me, took his foot off the gas in the last couple of rounds. Everyone else was like, oh, yeah, no, he did. It was like, no, he gave those last couple of rounds away because Pitbull would have a substantial punch or two land at the end. And I was like, you know what? What he did there is more than Roach did, in the rest of it. Come to find out, by about the fifth round or so, Roach's hand was broken. So it made sense that he approached it the way he did. On top of that, it said that Roach's corner was like, hey, just take it easy these last 2 rounds. Don't do nothing crazy. And you got it. Well, you don't got it. And that's, I'm not in there and I'm not fighting. My life is not on the line. But as a boxing fan and as someone who watches these things regularly, you fight to the end. Don't let up. Too many people have done this, and I'm thinking of De La Hoya and Trinidad back in the day. They figure, hey, I got it in the bag. I'm just going to dance around. Come to find out they don't. You don't stop. It's like football. In football, you don't stop until the whistle blows. I can remember my coaches in football saying, no, even in practice, you run to the huddle, you run everywhere. If you want to ensure that you win, you got to fight like that too.
You make a lot of great points. My only thing is, if the third scoring card felt a little lopsided. So 2 cards scored it, I think 113, 113. Mm-hmm. But then that one scored it 115, 111. Outside of the knockdown, which I feel like Roach got that momentum back in the middle rounds, from going back and rewatching it, but it just feels like I won't say it's a conspiracy, but the last 2 fights he's fought people that they consider great fighters, and in many people's eyes he's won. So, I know we got to move on to the next thing, but what does he have to do? What's next for him? What else is there that he can do to prove not only that he belongs, but that he's a winner?
First fight was stolen from him. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Even without the knockdown that wasn't a knockdown, that was Roach's fight. This one, again, he hurt himself, wasn't able to be as aggressive as he needed to be in those last rounds, and I feel like he really gave it up there. So fight the whole way through. Can you fight the whole way through if your hand is broken? No, you can't. Or I should say it becomes more difficult, but he's got to find a way to fight the whole time and leave no doubt as to who the winner is.
Well, there you have it. We'll continue to watch out and see what's next for both fighters moving forward, man. Shout out to Lamont Roach, man, for being a trooper going through it. He could have gave up, but like you said, he probably shouldn't have let up on the gas, and we'll be talking about a different decision here. Now, moving from one ring to another ring, there's a heavyweight collision that feels bigger than just the belt here, boys. Vadim Nevkov, Fedor's protege, the man who said, I don't want to let Fedor down, walked into Lyon with the weight of legacy on his shoulders. And he's already proven himself as a champion, already shown us that his game is equal parts precision and punishment. Now he's chasing history in the PFL cage. But it's not going to be easy, because across from him is literally a giant with bad intentions. Renan Ferreira, the 6'8" striker who Nemkov himself called strong, tall, fast, with a strong punch as well. That feels like a bot. Feels like the perfect bot for the cage. Ferreira's been through the fire. He's felt the power of Francis Ngannou, and he's still standing, he's still swinging, and he's still believing that this is his moment. Now, Nemkov has been clear about what's at stake. He said, of course, I think Francis and the possibility of fighting him. That's the next mountain, the next headline, he told MMA Junkie. But first, he's got to get through Ferreira, who's not only just fighting for a belt, he's fighting to literally remind the division that giants don't fall easy. That makes me think of that song. Giants, they die. Okay. Now this bout. I was listening earlier. Now this bout isn't just about skill set. It's about narratives colliding. Now Nemkov's blueprint versus Ferreira's chaos, the legacy versus hunger, and when the cage door closes, it's not just about who wins. It's about who bends reality to their will with these two monsters. So, Voice, just throwing it to you. Is this Nemkov's night to cement himself as PFL's new standard? Or is Ferreira about to shock the world and flip the script on everything that we thought we knew?
Of course, it depends on how the fight turns out regarding those things. Points for both men. One, Nemkov is the smaller of the two men, which means he'll also be the faster of the two men, and speed can beat power when it is applied properly. Nemkov has only lost twice in his career. Those are back-to-back losses in Rising. One was to the great Yuri Prohaska, and the other was to someone who's nondescript. That was back in 2016. He hasn't lost since then. You talked about the fact that he is a protege of Fedor, and we talked briefly before starting that Fedor was on a 10-fight winning streak before he lost, and Nemkov is kind of following that same pattern. He's 9 years in, not quite 10 yet, but 9 years in. But in the fight game, no matter how good you are for so long and how dominant you are, by the time comes for everyone, he's, again, the smaller fighter, smaller man, because he's coming up in weight. He's a former Bellator light heavyweight champion, but this is his third fight at heavyweight. He's in his prime as well, 33 years old. He has been doing it, and if he is to win, this is really going to be a striker versus grappler match. He's going to have to get in, get him into the ground, and submit him, as he has done in 3 of his last 5 wins. Now, for Problema, this is so beautiful because, again, we talked about Fedor being the trainer of Nemkov. Well, guess where or what gym Ferreira trains out of? Team Nogueira. Who did Fedor beat or have 3 bouts with during that 10-year period? The namesake Big Nog, Antonio Nogueira. So he's got it's really a pride protege pugilistic appointment. I couldn't think of anything else that started with a P that went with that, but you know, I tried. Anyway, Problema is 36 years old, so he is 3 years older than Nemkov is. They started fighting around the same time. So, you know, and he doesn't have as many fights, or I should say, his record doesn't reflect the same way that Nemkov's does. And that's because in the past couple years, he's had 3 fights that were no contest. All of them, though, were originally losses for him. So if you added that into his record, he'd be 13-7 versus the 13-4 that he is. Now, he was on a 4-fight knockout streak until Francis knocked him out. So, you know, for him, it's get or get got. And I don't know that he'll get got as far as a knockout is concerned, but he can get him as far as knocking him out. So I don't see Ferreira get knocked out. It could happen, because anything's possible. If anyone gets knocked out, it would probably be Vadim. And it's just interesting because as far as PFL is concerned, Ferreira was, you know, trying to make himself the name of the franchise because of winning the PFL tournament so many different times, which they're abandoning the tournament format for this upcoming year. So more news to come about that as time and as more information becomes available. But Hennon's best win was versus an old Bader, Ryan Bader, who hasn't fought since.
Yeah.
So again, should he win because he is the true heavyweight? Maybe, but we never know what's going to happen in a fight until the pin drops, the cage door locks, the thumb goes up, and they start the clock.
Great point there, boys. And what's funny about it is, even though Henna is the bigger, taller fighter, he's coming in with major things against him. I mean, when you look at Nemkov, he hasn't taken a loss, I think, outside of the no contest since about 2016.
Yeah,
so,
April 2016.
So there's a lot there, and I think at that point that was like the second of back-to-back losses, and he has not looked back since. So Problema has a lot of problems coming up against him, but that's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be a great fight, and also just seeing what ends up happening next for the winner there. As we talked about, Francis Ngannou is out there waiting, who I'm sure we'll cover it a lot later, but Francis Ngannou's in the news also for mentioning that his PFL contract is going to be up before that White House UFC bout. So I'm sure we'll definitely cover that more later down the line. Now, also going on in Lyon, there's another major fight with history in motion. Now, Chris Cyborg, legend, the Grand Slam champion, the fighter who said, "Next year is my last year," steps into the cage with the weight of 2 decades of dominance sitting on her shoulders. And she's been cracking skulls since about 2005, and now she's walking into what could be the final chapter of her career. Now, the issue with that is, across from her is a name you might want to start remembering, Sarah Collins. She's undefeated, she's dangerous, the midwife by day who submitted Mia McCourt in 1 round by night, which I still think is crazy to think about. Now, Collins isn't here to be a footnote in Cyborg's farewell tour, and she's made that apparent. She says she's here to flip the script, take the belt, and to prove that the next generation isn't waiting politely to take their turn. Now, Cyborg has been clear about her mindset. She stated, "For now, the motivation is to end my career and be great." She's not chasing legacy, she's chasing impact. This is what she told MMA Junkie. And yet, Collins is chasing her own moment. The chance to shock the world by taking out the woman who many call the real woke in the ring. Now, the fight is more than champion versus challenger. It's the end of an era colliding with the start of another. Cyborg's precision, power, and poise against Collins, who has the hunger, grit, and belief for an upset. And when the cage doors closes, it's, again, not about who wins, as Royce likes to say. It's about who defines the narrative of women's MMA moving forward. So, Royce, I got to ask you about the GOAT. Is this the night that Cyborg reminds us why she is the GOAT? Or is Collins about to steal the spotlight and announce herself as the future here?
Again, we only will know that when the fight takes place. But just setting things up as far as the fight is concerned, yes, Cyborg is just like we talked about Fedor being the original GOAT on the male side, Cyborg is that on the women's side. She's the one who retired Gina Carano. She's the one who scared Ronda Rousey into a whole new weight class. Like before the probability of Cyborg and Ronda came about, Ronda was fighting at 145 pounds. That was the only weight class for women at that time. And then now all of a sudden in the UFC it's 135. Why is it 135? Because she didn't think Cyborg can make 135. And she was right. Cyborg nearly killed herself just to get down to 140. So this is who Cyborg has been. Cyborg has only lost twice in her career. The first time was her very first fight. That's understandable. You're getting your feet wet, trying to figure out things, and things happen. The last time was against the now GOAT in Amanda Nunes. And not only that, Cyborg is a beast. Of her 28 victories, 21 of them have been by knockout and one by submission. So she only has gone to the card about only gone to the cards like 5 times in her career. Collins is in a very good position, a position to shock the world. Like, everybody should be talking about this if Collins is to be victorious, because Collins only has 6 fights. Now, granted, 3 of those wins are by submission, but she made her pro debut in 2019. As you said, Cyborg is a 20-year vet. She got 2 decades in this. One of the beautiful things about former Bellator and now kind of rubbed off on PFL is that, not kind of, I mean, it really was merit-based when they had the tournaments. That's the reason that, or I should say, a lot of that is the reason that Collins is here. Another part, though, which we have to address, the elephant in the room, is that PFL don't have many fighters at the weight class that can fight Cyborg. They lost Kayla years ago. They just let go of Larissa Pacheco. So who else is there but Sarah Collins? Had there been other players available, Sarah would still be building her career as she should be. But where opportunity meets preparation, you get things like this. On paper, this is a complete mismatch, but the only things that take place on paper, and they don't even take place on paper anymore, are tests. So this is going to be contested in the cage, where anything can happen at any moment. Yeah, unmute yourself.
I don't even know how I got muted. Anyway, that's going to be an incredible bout. Also, that's going to be a part of an incredible card. As you said, Cyborg has rarely tasted defeat when she steps into the cage, and Sarah Collins is 6-0 and building a legacy for herself. So it's going to be amazing to see that. Also, make sure that you all tune into that. And make sure you're following The Voice on social media, man, so you can see Voice's breakdown of each fight and see how he calls it, so you can get a non-biased point of view, because a lot of these fights lately have been coming up a little shaky.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick pause of the cause. When we come back on the other side, we will speak of John Cena's Swan song. The last time is now, here on the main card. Keep it locked. All right, we are back. It's the main card, and we're talking about someone who has been at the top of the card for many, many years. We talked about Cyborg and her dominance in the previous segment, and Cena has been at the top just about as long. A man who has inspired many generations. I forgot. I meant to bring the one thing about John Cena that stands out to me, but we'll talk about that a little bit towards the end. But this is a man who has carried the flag for the WWE. He's inspired songs in his leaving the promotion. And I'm going to reach out to Josiah Williams to see if he wants to talk about his song as well as Cena after this match. But he is going in for the last time. We called it. We're not writers. We don't have the ability to see what the plans are, but we knew that Gunther was going to be here. Just like Gunther sent Goldberg off this year, he's now sending Cena off. And he's saying in a promo, and they he kind of got down on Monday night, said, look, this dude is gonna tap. I'm gonna make him a tapper like Conor McGregor. We know that is Gunther's go-to when it comes to finishing moves. Because Cena's not been any of the losses, or I should say for the most part with the losses, Cena, really has not been getting pinned. He's on this Hulk Hogan when it comes to that. Will he tap to Gunther, though, is the question. Or will it end differently? Will Cena be able to go out on top?
When you think of John Cena, you think cinema. You think unpredictability. We've seen John Cena have some of the greatest matches possible. But then we've also seen him go in against The Undertaker after begging for a match, get chokeslammed 1, 2, 3. We've also seen Brock Lesnar take this man to Suplex City multiple times. This last time we saw what happened to WrestlePalooza. So with Cena, you never know what you're going to get. Cena's all about the storytelling. He's all about finishing it off. So while none of us was really shocked that Gunther was the opponent, although I would have liked to have seen him and LA Knight go at it, I'm concerned. It's Cena's last match. You want to see him not only give his best, you want to see him hit his five moves of doom. You want to see him show out in this match in the best way possible on his way out. However, as a betting man, I can also see this ending up in a squash. So Cena can prove a point of putting someone else over, making Gunther the all more powerful professional wrestler that he is, which Gunther does not need. So it just kind of all depends on perspective. Now, do I hope that this match goes the distance? Yes. Now, they've been having discussions, which I'm not really sure if I agree with, but Cena versus Gunther is actually planned to open up Saturday night's main event. And they're saying that they're giving Cena all the time in the world, so it's not a thing where anybody's match is going to be cut short or anything happens. So that's a telltale sign. Maybe we're going to get a classic. Maybe we're going to get something tremendous. But at the same time, as a wrestling fan and as someone who has seen Goldberg beat Brock Lesnar in 25 seconds to win a Survivor Series, prepare yourself for the unexpected. That's the best thing I can say.
Okay. You spoke about where the match is being placed, which is very important because you have 4 matches on a 2-hour card, which really doesn't seem like enough time to have 4 full matches. But the fact that Cena's match is going first is important, and he's really kind of giving a layup to the next generation. There's no bigger NXT fan in the world than Wildress Ruffin. Tell me your feelings about how he is advocating for the next generation.
I love it. It's a symbolism of what John Cena is. If you know how John Cena got started, he came out, challenged to a challenge from Kurt Angle, ruthless aggression. And even though he lost that match, he impressed so many. And that was the beginning of the great career of John Cena. That's back when he was wearing the tight shorts for each city color, whatever it was. This is another great way to showcase the amazing talent of NXT that I'm always advocating for as a Full Sail alumni. What up, Dylan? So it's great to see. And while there are only 4 matches, I mean, it's Saturday night main event, so it's not to expect much. These are really, really great matches to see. I mean, of course, you have John Cena versus Gunther that's scheduled to open up the show. We don't know if it's going to open or close it. But then you have a match like AJ Styles and Dragon Lee, the Raw Tag Team Champions, versus Javon Evans and Lyon Slater. If you have not seen Javon Evans and Lyon Slater in the ring, think the Hardys on steroids. These guys do amazing work in the ring. Lyon Slater, of course, is a wrestler in TNA who it's only a matter of time before he's in the NXT ring permanently. And Javon Evans, who's shown superstardom not only in AAA and NXT, but also in his United States Championship Challenge match versus Sami Zayn. He also recently wrestled Gunther in a great match also on Raw in the Last Time Is Now tournament. That's going to be an amazing match along with AJ Styles and Dragon Lee, two greats are in the match. Another great match, Bayley versus Sol Ruka. If you ask me who is the epitome of the WWE Women's Division, it's Bayley. Bayley puts on a great match with just about anybody. She works well in the ring with just about anybody, and to me, she's my favorite 4-horsewoman. She's going to be in the ring with Sol Ruka, who, if you're not familiar with Sol Ruka, she's out of this world. Sol Ruka does some amazing things in the ring, and seeing those styles come together, Bayley gonna sell those moves like the Rennans do. Like, think Vivica Fox in those car insurance commercials. That's how Bayley is gonna sell those moves, and it's gonna be tremendous. And then the last match, which this match can possibly cook. Cody Rhodes, the undisputed WWE champion, versus Oba Femi, the newly minted two-time NXT champion. He just defeated Ricky Starks last Saturday, and then he just beat Javon Evans on Tuesday, actually, in a highly contested match. I saw Javon Evans almost win, but of course, Ricky Starks came out to break that up. These are two vast styles also, but I think Cody works well with somebody like Oba Femi after seeing him work with Brock Lesnar. Obi is an athletic big man who is very physical, who gets down, who has power. Someone I would love to see down the road in a WrestleMania main event against the like of Gunther. Let him retire Brock Lesnar while we're at it, if I'm being honest, because Oba Femi is that guy. And just as great as he is in the ring, he's even nice on the mic. So let's get Cody and Oba to get some promo time in while we're at it so we can make this even more worth it. So while this is a small card, it's a card that literally allows these matches to develop, allows us to get those moments, and it's connecting the old guard with the incoming new guard, because there have been some rumblings out there that we're going to get a lot of people coming up to the main roster soon. We just saw Lash Legend come up. We've seen the impact she's already had. Shout out to her in that Survivor Series match. So shout out to John Cena, because it could have been a whole dedication show to John Cena, which is nice, but we have YouTube for that. John said, you know what? I'm going out, and I want to go out the way I came in. Let's give these new people an opportunity to show some ruthless aggression themselves.
Okay. You said he's going out the same way he came in. You spoke about the tights for every city.
Mm-hmm.
As far as your relationship with Cena is concerned, what's your favorite memory?
When you pose this question in our rundown, I thought about this, and I was like, it almost feels unfair to think about one memory because of the way John Cena has created. Now, I can give you a favorite match, and my favorite match would be Royal Rumble 2017. That's the WWE Championship match between Cena and AJ Styles, considered their best match ever. This is where Cena actually got the record-tying 16th world title. But instead, I want to focus on his greatest feud. Everyone says it's CM Punk, and you know what? Arguably, it is, because the hatred that they have between them was tremendous. But for me, it's Cena versus Edge. In this feud, we saw Cena go into Edge's world with the TLC match, Unforgiven 2006 in Toronto. Edge, of course, the master of the TLC match. This was his hometown also, and Cena overcame all those odds. He gave an attitude adjustment off a ladder through multiple tables, which I think also Edge said that he was actually injured in that match through that AA. But the legacy paved the way for Cena to not only show that he could thrive in different aspects, because up until that time, it really wasn't that much proven. He had time with JBL, but this was different, and it cemented him as a top star while also making Edge an even bigger star. But then you had the time you had in that rivalry where Edge showed up to Cena's house and beat up his dad. We saw them go back and forth. The rated R superstar versus the PG era king, and the promos that they put back and forth there. There was one where Edge said he wasn't competing in Phoenix because Phoenix didn't celebrate Martin Luther King Day and almost called John Cena racist. So you have one of the greatest feuds that you can think of that a lot of us came up with. You know, you have the Unforgiven match. You have the Money in the Bank cash-in that cemented Edge as to what he was today. For me, instead of thinking about one moment, think about a time in that 2006 period where Edge and John Cena went back and forth for that championship and to fight to see who was just as big. You can almost compare this to, and not on the same level, so don't get at me, to a Stone Cold versus Rock. They fit so well in the ring together that every time they got into the ring, whether it was for a promo, whether it was for, you know, Edge throwing the belt over into the river, it was tremendous. And this defined 2006 and essentially defined their careers moving forward. And is ultimately, in my opinion, what shaped them both. But for me, that's peak Cena. That's where Cena went past everything we saw the Dr. Thugonomics come back at certain times. But to me, that was peak Cena. And when I think about John Cena and I think about moments, I always go back to those moments with Edge.
Okay. So, again, that's your favorite memory. But I'll say that for last.
Mm-hmm.
How will he be remembered?
John Cena will go down in many people's eyes as the greatest of all time. When you look at eras of pro wrestling, you look at Bob Backlund, you look at Andre the Giant, you look at Hulk Hogan and Macho Man in the 80s, you look at Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels in the 90s. When you think about John Cena, you think about the 2000s era, and you think about ruthless aggression. The reason why many people will consider John Cena to be the greatest of all time is because he was the bridge after WWE had lost many of its greatest stars. Stone Cold was headed out. The Rock had gone to Hollywood, although he would come back from time to time, even face Cena on 2 occasions. Even Mick Foley was up out of there at certain points. John Cena defined an age where professional wrestling officially transitioned into what sports entertainment is today. And he did it at a time where WWE was looking for a star. They were looking for someone to hitch their ride to. And yeah, you can think of other people. You can look at the fact that he came in with probably one of the greatest classes of all time with Randy Orton and Brock Lesnar. But and Batista also.
Batista, yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, but you think about this time period and you think about the fact that he transcended not only those rivalries with them, but he did this over a 25-year period and went from being a newbie wrestling Kurt Angle to being the vet wrestling a Roman Reigns who was at the top of his field. So John Cena will go down as the greatest of all time because he transcended what it was to be a WWE wrestler. And as he continues to move on, it's sad to see him go.
Well, though he's going, he's not fully gone. He did recently make news signing an ambassador contract with the WWE. So he'll still be around championing. I don't know if that's a word or if I said that word right, but
championing.
Yes, campaigning and advancing the cause of the WWE. Something that he did a great job of over the years, especially when it comes to building new fans. How he will be remembered for me is the time that he had a deal with Kmart for clothes, and my sons have one of his shirts, one of his "You Can't See Me" shirts. It was a long sleeve, black and white lumberjack shirt with something on the back. Nathan got it, pass it down to Nick, and that will be my fondest memory of John Cena.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, just the final thing. Someone asked me to compare John Cena in basketball terms because we do the full 94 also. John Cena is WWE's version of LeBron James. It wasn't that he came in and did anything that was over the top of spectacular. He did everything really, really well. He did it over a long period of time. And he became the face of what everything was known as. And he did it over a MOP banger introduction that is never going to be out there. And if I'm not mistaken, John Cena also has a platinum rap album. So there you have it. Greatness inside the ring, greatness outside. Now, I ain't saying I was listening to the album like some of the people I know, but shout out to him. And also quick shout out to his matches with Bray Wyatt, one of my goats here. His Firefly Funhouse match with Bray Wyatt during the Thunderdome COVID era is also a classic. I don't want to let that go there, but thank you, John Cena, for 25 years. I know he said that he's never wrestling again. He said he's not going to be like everybody else. When he's done, he's done. And you can believe it because I watched his interview with Chris Van Vliet today. And one of the things that he said is he was planning this almost 2 years ago. Because he's constantly on movie sets. So he had to start planning this in 2023 because of the insurance risk that he becomes, and he wanted to finish it out. He originally wanted to do 220 dates, and WWE was like, yeah, John, no. So shout out to Cena. Thank you for an amazing 25 years, and here's to hoping that Saturday's night main event is as great as it should be. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what we have for you this week. But of course, we like to, give y'all little side pieces. You know what I'm saying? The yams, the macaroni and cheese to go along with all that protein. So this is what we call our final fights, where Voice provides you with the bouts to look for that may not be actually on your radar. So Voice, what should we be looking for this weekend?
The UFC has an event at the Apex UFC Vegas 112. You have a number of notable people on this card. It's headlined by Manel Kape and Brandon Royval. If Kape is successful, he very well could be up next for the new champion in Joshua Van. We also have Giga Chikadze on that card. I'm partial to Nigerians and St. Louisans. Kennedy Nzechukwu is going on the card. You got King Green versus Lance Gibson Jr., who is MMA royalty coming over from Bellator/PFL into the UFC. Speaking of people making their transition, you got Neil Magny taking on the former Bellator champion in Yaroslav Amosov. Only one loss, and I was there for it, when he lost to Jason Jackson at the last Scott Coker promoted Bellator card in Chicago. Absolutely fantastic fighter, and I can't believe that he's so low on the card. I mean, it's hard to believe it, I should say, but with the way that those acquisitions have panned out recently, I can understand why they're approaching it a little more cautiously. That's on the MMA end. In boxing, you have a heavyweight championship bout going on between Kubrat Pulev and Marek Gassiev. Now, granted, we know that the full champion, is Alexander Usyk. This is for a secondary title. It's the WBA, which I believe stands for Won a Belt. All right, so here we have it. They've got a belt on the line. Also on that card, you have Maxie Hughes, who gets a lot of love in the UK. Badu Jack has his own pay-per-view in 2025. Who knew that was a thing? But he's got it, taking on Noel Mikhailan. putting his WBC cruiserweight title on the line. The fight, boxing wise, that most people will be looking to tune into, though, is Diego Pacheco versus Kevin Lele Sajo. Pacheco's at 168. He could be in line for whatever belt they strip Bud of, or whatever other belts Bud gets stripped of, and or the winner between Mbili and Hamza Shiraz when they fight for the WBC card, if he's able to be successful in his fight versus Sajo. Sky Nicholson is also on that card. Then Wednesday of next week, which our shows don't come out until Friday, so it will have passed by then, so I want to make sure you're aware of it. Nonito Donaire is fighting. Them Zoo is fighting. Sam Goodman is fighting, which is crazy to me. Like, who has these kinds of cards on a Wednesday in the middle of December? Whoever these promoters are the ones. So definitely a lot of notable fights going on outside of the ones that we've covered.
Awesome. Sounds amazing, voice. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in with us. Another amazing episode of the Main Card. You know, anytime you see these two amazing faces on the screen, it's smoke o'clock, and you know how we do it, bring you the best in combat sports. But that's not how we do. This is MTMV Sports. We provide you the best in sports all over, from basketball, football, anything. You got Not the Same Sports. You got Timeout with the voice. You have shout out to Miss Melvin, man, doing her amazing thing with the HBCUs out there. Full 94. So we're out here. And you know what? You know what's special? If you can't see these amazing faces, we're on anything that you have for your podcast. Apple, Spotify, YouTube, whatever. We there. So you ain't got no excuse. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and make sure you share that also with someone you care about, someone else who loves sports or who just wants to see handsome faces and voices, baritone voice. All right, voice, take us out.
Until next time, fight the good fight.
What's going on, family? It's your man Wildress.
And it's your man, the myth, the legend, the voice.
And you just finished watching the Main Card on the MTMV network.
Yeah, for more great shows just like this, smash the subscribe button and keep fighting the good fight.